One tag, 1 week, one shot to make it count. This is for the hunters who hit the road and get after it, no matter the odds. This is Drawn West. Welcome back to another Drawn West podcast brought to you by GOHUNT. I'm your host, Brian Krebs. Today, I've got my good buddy, Sam Moore from Moore Media on the podcast. Sam just went on a early season archery whitetail hunt, and we're going to hear the whole story. Already got a buck under your belt. How does that feel for the year, Sam?
Probably one of the earliest I've done that. In fact, for sure one of the earliest I've done. I mean, I've killed probably a couple of does before that, but for sure the earliest you have like a buck down, it's like not October yet. It's still warm and like you still have a whole season ahead of you, which is like a great feeling, right? Because it means like you just want to do it more. So no, it's good, man.
Yeah, that was long. It was a couple weeks ago too. I mean, it was like early September. So yeah, to get and not like hey, I want to get like the first buck I see down. A really nice 10-pointer.
Yeah, dude. Biggest archery buck. Oh, I've only ever killed a deer with a bow. I've never gun hunted. So biggest archery buck, probably by a good 10 points or so. It was cool. It was at the end of the day, it was a God thing. Like the situation, how it all went down, which I'm sure we'll get into, but like it was kind of a like most things are, right? I mean, like how many of these conversations do you have where it's like it's never, oh yeah, it was there and killed it and done. And like that's one way you can look at it. But like this was there's all kinds of things that went up and down, a lot of emotions. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And again, we're not even into October and I have a whole season ahead of me. And yet like, there's still like more of it. I can do more of it, which is the best.
So let's start at the beginning. Why North Dakota? I assume this was this was not a work trip. This was just a hunt.
So it was kind of both.
Okay.
The original one was, so like, Dean and David, Tagenbreg, met them through XOP. They have a relationship with a farmer out there in North Dakota where they met him at and we could get into it, but like they met him at a bar in Nashville and then they like invite him to come out hunt in North Dakota. And that was like 13 years ago, dude. They've been going out every year since. It's super cool. Long story short, great people, true Midwestern farm family. They had a young kid, says my device is running low on storage, recording to free up device data. Did I just keep it going?
Try it. We could try it. I'm not sure. I've never ran into that issue before.
Yeah, it says low device storage. I mean, I can just let it. If you can still hear me, I just can keep going, but it says low device storage. I don't know.
I've got the audio for sure. So if people watch this on YouTube and it suddenly cuts to a picture of Sam's big buck, it's because somewhere the tech failed us. But we'll keep the audio going for everyone for sure.
Perfect. All right. Well, and no one needs to see my ugly mug for that long. It's been a good amount of time.
You're kind of merging back to Team Beard. It looks like you like
dude,
Team Mustache.
This is because I'm working too much. Like I could tell you that my last week and what is consisted of, I entered the manual labor force and built a studio out of a shed. And so like I joke with my buddies, like I had like a carpenter's pencil for like cutting and measuring in my mouth more than I slept this last week, like for sure.
Oh, I stick mine in my hat.
I just always had it cross them. I don't anyway. So without getting into it, Tag and Brag, they have a great relationship with the farmer out there. Like they have a young boy that when they met him was like 10. Now he's in college and so I went out there to hunt North Dakota just to see what the vibe was.
Yeah.
They invited me to their camp for a couple of days. 2, we're doing a film with them next year. It sounds like to tell more about that story, and I wanted a little bit of backstory. So I could go out there, I could take a couple of days off, potentially get in stand once or twice. Those guys were super helpful with help me get a look at the lay of the land and that kind of thing. But long story short, I sat like a night or two, kept playing tic-tac-toe with a couple of bucks that I would have killed for sure. Small baskets, just first out of state or first out the North Dakota buck, like I would have done it in a heartbeat. But it just didn't work out. It kept weaving and dodging. Anyway, on the way home, being a little more familiar with how you access property, not just the rule by the book, but like the culture of what North Dakota is about asking permission, non-posted stuff, electronically posted, just like being a little more confident with that. Cause you can read it, but it's when you get there, you understand a little bit more of like what's appropriate to do and not.
Yeah.
So on the way home, I scouted. And so like between where I was in North Dakota and Minnesota, I just stopped and started driving around public land. Found a couple good pieces. It's a checkbox game. It's okay. This isn't electronically posted. Get your eyes on it. Is it posted? Yes, it is. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
And by these 50 red checkboxed plots of sections and properties, you get 3 that boil down to not electronically posted, it isn't posted, and it looks like it could hold deer. So that's where you just funnel it down. Well, so I found a couple areas. Started getting out enough to walk one. Only had the way back. I left in the morning. I want to get back in the evening before the kids went to bed. So I only had half day, 3/4 day. Plus it's a 5-hour drive. So I stopped a couple properties, dropped some pins, walked a little bit, put a camera out, and I was gonna get home. And the next day I was flying to Bozeman for another XOP film for next year. This is Montana. We had a whitetail hunt there, me and Brock. So I put some cameras out, and dude, the next day he showed up. He was there. And so I was landing. I remember I was landing in Bozeman and getting back my phone off airplane mode or whatever. And it was just he was there. And I'm like, what do you mean? He looked like a freak. This is a deer that looked just prestigious. He was tall. He was wide. He had length. Brows, were decent.
Right.
Everything looked symmetrical. Just like a specimen, dude. And he wasn't an old deer, so he just looked that much bigger. And so I started losing him. I've only had a handful of deer in my life on camera that were like that, let alone right away. So yeah, it was just a spot that I scouted on the way home, put a couple cameras up, and then I had to watch him daylight for almost a week before I could chase him again.
Yeah. That's rough. When you want to be hunting and this thing, obviously you love what you do, especially what you do, because what you do is most people's dream. But I got to imagine in that moment, you're like, hey, Brock, can we get this show on the road? I got places to be.
Dude, he killed opening day. So
yeah,
all of a sudden it goes, and that whole hunt is a whole nother story and things. But it was just, yeah, we ended up, no, sorry, maybe it was the first day. I don't even remember. It was within the first day or two. So we killed pretty early, and it was his first buck. And I was super excited, but there really wasn't much for us to do after that. So I got out of the shoot relatively early, a couple days earlier. I changed my flight. I think it was supposed to come back on a Saturday. I came back a Thursday night or something like that. I forget what it was. So all of a sudden now, the last 2 days I was in Montana, he's not daylighting. He's gone. Had a little bit of a cold front. Thought, hey, maybe that was your window. You obviously know, and most people they're very patternable this time of year. You get the first cold front, you get the first egg starting to get cut, you get the first wind consistently changing from the northwest. Anything can throw that off. Yep. And they can go from so predictable to nah, they're 3 farms over, and they're all of a sudden thinking about, hey, I should start getting some scrapes going and freaking looking around and start chasing. Not rutting, but it just changes their summer. But what happened was I got back the next day. I think I worked a little bit, and then I remember seeing him back, and I had 2 cameras set up specifically on this trunk. And he came back from one side and then went to the other camera. So I knew which direction he was going, and I knew the timestamp of which he was going back to bed. And based on his history of 3 or 4 nights of doing a similar thing, but just a couple days ago, I had a pretty good idea where he was bedding. And because the structure of that plot of woods and timber and egg, there wasn't much of an area for him to go to. So he wasn't far. He was within, I estimate he was within 200 yards.
Okay.
Based on the timing and all of it. And again, that's just an educated guess. That is no science behind it. It's just experience, getting the chance to shoot and be with a bunch of really wise people who have done this for years. And it's just piece amount of information together. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting at the office. It's 8:30, 9 o'clock. The guys come in, and I'm sitting here thinking, I was I gotta go. What am I, I know that,
Oh, your audio just cut out. Can you hear me still? There you're back.
You got me?
Yep.
Perfect. Sorry, I was just trying to deny a phone call. It was dude, it was one of those things where it just, I knew the wind was right to set up for it. I knew I had to go. Keep in mind, I've never put a stand on this property. Never hunted it. Just walked it once. So I had a memory of being there a little bit, but I didn't know what tree I was going to be in. So that's the beauty of the whole entire XOP system.
Yeah.
This way of hunting. I come from the fishing world, and that's where probably my biggest passion is. And obviously electronics and live scope has been a huge thing. People think that using Mega Live is just a whole other experience. Like I love it. Like I'm sorry, but like I like old fashioned cranking on them with the frog and stuff too. But like when I'm bass fishing, like looking at a fish, targeting it and catching it, this is that form of deer hunting for me. And this, like I said, all the systems are what makes that possible. And so I geek out over it. I geek out over like how you're carrying it, how you're tweaking it all. You remember from Nebraska last year, like I remember you kind of having that I watched it click in you while you're there. You're like, dude, I don't need to think this hard about my setup because I'm not going that far. Even if I do, like I don't really like. That's a whole new genre that's expanded into. So it was a lot of fun. I went in knowing I was going to have about a 500-yard walk. Knowing I had the wind in my favor, but I was going to have to, scent control was going to be a thing. So I either had to go pretty enough high, bring scent control with me, do something. I got up in a tree. I had a really good idea where he was going to go. I was looking at a side of a cornfield, and it's just a path between some bedding and some timber. It's like a little belt that came out, and the belt kind of widened. And so I was at this last pinch point between him going cross section against corn and where this big fence comes up. And the neighbors, which was private, which I was only probably 90, 80 yards from the posted stuff. The neighbors had like a higher fence for their cattle or horses or something. So like it was like a double barbed wire. And I had never seen that before, but it was like higher along that one side because they kept cows and stuff. Like there's agricultural stuff going on right there. So it wasn't too far. So I knew he wasn't going to slide on the one side. So he only had one way to go if he was going to come into this tree belt. Anyway, dude, like he was always coming up with like 20, 30 minutes of light left, like 10 minutes of light left. Sunset was at 7:30 something, I think. I get up in the stand at 5:15 at later because I got there. I
So
was
you
doing
like
a 5.5 hour drive.
you were so for context, we both live actually very close to each other in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So you're 4
5.5
hours to the
out.
North Dakota
No,
border.
five and a
Right.
5.5 hours to my spot. Yeah.
5.5 hours to spot. You were at work at 9 a.m. You're like, what am I doing? Go run around the office quick, throw a bunch of stuff in the truck, leave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like, oh, I should like go hunt and I like, it's on my way home from the office.
No, this is 5.5 hours. I'm in the morning. I need to be in stand. I'm doing the math. Like I can't stop for lunch. I grabbed like fruit snacks that the kids had or something, like a thing of water and just went. And like, I didn't have a hotel booked or anything because I figured I'd hunt the evening and the morning. But I don't know. It just kind of hit me. I was like, I gotta go. Like and like work is extremely busy. So it wasn't like necessarily like an easy decision, but it's like opportunities, right? When are you going to have the biggest deer you've had on camera like consistently ever? You might as well go do it. So yeah, I left. It didn't. I ended up. There was a tree that was like right out in front of where my camera was. That was like picture perfect. But it was like I've learned like and as you progress into doing this more often with other people and stuff like that it would have been beautiful for a picture, not great. I mean, there was not enough cover there. So I actually ended up like going behind the tree.
Having the right tool for the job can make all the difference in the world, and that applies for our Western hunts too. Especially if you're coming from the Midwest like myself, because if you don't have it, there's no going home to get it. That's why many of us Western hunters are also gear junkies. And the same is true for the folks over at GOHUNT. They have built the GOHUNT gear shop to be jam-packed full of the best, highest quality gear needed for your Western hunts. They try out everything that gets into the shop, and if they don't like it or if they don't use it, it doesn't make the cut. So if you need something for your next trip, GOHUNT has something for you in their gear shop. They've got everything from optics, camping gear, accessories, apparel, footwear. They've got packs. They've got some of the best brands in the industry. So if you're in the market for some new gear, consider checking out the GOHUNT Gear Shop. They're an avid supporter of the outdoors. They're supporters of this podcast. And most importantly, they're supporters of you. They want to help you be more successful in the West. So there's no better place to shop for your gear, information, or knowledge than GOHUNT. And if you use the code DRAWNWEST when you check out, you're going to get 10% off most of the regular priced items in the GOHUNT Gear Shop. So head over to GOHUNT.com, get the gear you need, use the code DRAWNWEST, and get the right tool for the job this fall.
Tree up a skinnier one that had the same vantage, but I had to go like pretty dang high, like the highest public land sit I think I've had in quite some time. So I usually pack two hydros, two-step or three-step aiders. So I can go like base of my tree stand. If I'm really extended, I'm about 6 foot. I can get the base of my tree stand at like 18, 19 feet. If I'm doing a good job extending it all, which is pretty high up there. I brought a third hydro And so I got another like 4.5, 5 feet up from that, because I was at the top of my stick, got to put another stick and then still stand on top of that and then climb into my stand. So I was like 22, 23 feet up.
Is the Hydro, is that the new version of the X2?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the Hydro is the lightweight one. So like the X2 is still a stick. They have the Midnight Edition X2, which is just a blackened version of the X2. The Hydro is the one that we tested out in Nebraska, the lightweight one that they stack on top of each other. They have the attachment system that's just a
two-step. It's like a two-step double-sided stick.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it isn't a 3-step or anything like that, or one. But I have the 3-step aiders underneath it.
Yeah.
So that makes it, one, just not only lightweight, but two, like I can go just like crazy high with it. So I sat high.
Yeah. I mean, I hunt the X2s, which is like the same concept, just a little heavier. 2 of those and 2 aiders, and I'm as high as I want to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was another stick higher than I usually sit.
Yeah.
Which funny, because I actually told myself last year on a couple of the out-of-state hunts that bringing an extra Hydro is like it's 16 ounces. Like it's just not that big a deal. They pack the same. You can leave at the base of the tree if you wanted to. So I told myself that I was going to start traveling with 3 for that exact situation. So I'm glad I had it.
Well, it's hilarious that people like cut out, like they get so dialed, like how many ounces does it? Like, dude, your goal is to shoot a deer. If you can't go in with 8 pounds, how are you going to come out with 180?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, just put it on your back and walk in.
Yeah. No, it's a good topic of conversation, and that's a good perspective on it that can involve a whole other conversation. But that the attachment to, I mean, like I geek out over that stuff, but you have to have a reality check, like you said, every once in a while. Like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, bringing, or like if there's not a reason behind you're trying to reduce weight, like a fatigue, noticeable difference, something you do day in and day out. Like reality, me bringing in a heavier casted stand with X2s versus the Superfly and Hydros is the difference between 8, 9 pounds, 14, 15 pounds. Like neither make a difference on that walk or that hike.
It's cool. It is cool. But if you were like, I don't want to bring an extra X2 and get value out of it, or have an extra tool in my tool belt because it's 16 more ounces. I'm like, what are you going to do if you shoot one?
The option. Right.
Yeah.
The option. No, if someone's saying like, oh, that's past my weight threshold, I'm not going to bring it. Like, that's just crazy. But anyway, it's, so 6 o'clock runs around, dude. I've been standing for like an hour. I did film, bring something to film with me. Not anything too serious, just for my own purposes. Thought, why not?
Okay.
But I had a camera fixed on one side, and 6 o'clock runs around, and for whatever reason, there's these giant fox squirrels everywhere. Kept driving me nuts. But I look behind me, and I just see tines just moving around, like going back and forth. And like I didn't really even have enough time to get like crazy nervous. Like it was like, oh crap, because I had to bring my bow across, right?
Yeah.
And I did, like again, live and learn Wisconsin last year. I had a really good deer in front of me, low light, but it was coming in the right direction. That I didn't have my saddle adjusted to where that I could truly have the full liberty of movement. And because I was hybrid hunting, I was sitting in a Superfly, but I had my saddle, so I could go back and forth if I really needed to. That's kind of the way I prefer to do it. And so I had the room because I adjusted it accordingly. So I had room. I was on this side. I had no shooting lanes, right? You're on public ground. Like I'm not taking chainsaw there. I didn't have a preset. So like I have a small window the size of a basketball, and everything else is not ethical. Like it's just, I can see him. He's quartering away from me, and more or less, he's quartering away and to the left. So initially, as soon as he was looking around a little bit, as soon as he put his head down and kept being, he was just grazing a little bit as he was kind of working. He was going back the way I walked. He was going downwind of me eventually. So he was about parallel with me with the wind. So we were offset winds, and it was a pretty decent wind too. And I'm sure I patted down with, Clifton's camel duster, but like I'm sure I smelled. And so I had a limited window, and he was going back towards my truck the way I was walking out. So like, it's like, I ain't getting out of here without jumping him at some point. Hopefully you see him on the next camera I have. And then like, my point is all those decisions are happening in your head at the same time. And all of it between when I first saw him and when I killed him was less than probably 40 seconds, 30 seconds. So within about 10 seconds, I drew on him. It just did, but I'm waiting for him to hit a gap, and you're going in your head, ethical, not ethical. Am I going to have a chance to shoot this thing again? Is this the biggest deer of your life? Like all these things are going back and forth. and you find yourself trying not to you don't want to make a compromise and make something that isn't a safe shot. Yeah, you're trying to capitalize on the opportunity, and you're trying to go, am I really going to have another chance at this thing? So again, a God thing, dude. Like he took a step to the right, presented a shot in my window, and then immediately brought his hips back around, put his ass towards me, and then shifted around the other way. And so gave me, like, he just pivoted, and I don't know why, but like I missed my first one of him moving because he just did it all of a sudden. And then the second window, I'm there, and he's at probably 16 to 18 yards, something like that. I mean, maybe even 15. He's not far.
Close.
Like right there. Yeah. And I'm higher than I've been, which is, again, this kind of comes full circle. Like,
yeah, you're shooting like straight down.
Instinctively, you're always pocket, right behind it. Like, you have your areas, and I knew my angle was going to make a difference, and so I was favoriting high. But I had my 20-yard pin, so like I went like just under my, I'm compensating. Anyway, I after about 15 to 20 seconds after I was drawn, he gave me that window. There's sticks and debris everywhere, and there's just one little hole that had like a leaf or two. I made the decision that, listen, this leaf is 4 feet from him, so like this is fine. Like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And in reality, where it went through, I didn't have an issue with it at all. But my shot, I felt, was high. My Luminoc, I never saw. And once it got past, he immediately jumped, took off. He didn't give me a kick. There wasn't enough of the deer showing to be able to like see the true body nature of his head. Is, like you see deer go down your head, do different things. And he just took off, dude. And immediately I was like, deflection, or I just flat out got nervous and missed, because like I was in a tunnel vision zone.
Yeah.
And not to get into this whole side of things and make this political, but hours before that, Charlie Kirk was killed.
Okay. And
so on the way out there, I'm talking to my wife, I'm talking to friends, and like everyone has, some people may be like, hey man, that, it's sad, but it happens all the time. For whatever reason, and the show's a lot of people, it hit differently. It affected me more, partially because of his kids, partially because I was familiar with his content, partially because like it just felt like he was fighting the good fight, and regardless if you believed him in or not, he encouraged discussion, which discussion meant people figuring out their problems, not just fighting about them.
Right. Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things that like, it felt super shallow to be like doing something personally and like worrying about that and like having my emotions get the best of me during that situation when like there's so much bigger things going on in the world that like in a normal situation, I'd be texting buddies like, man, pray that I got him. Like, hope it wasn't a good shot. Or like, I'd be texting like for support that way. And like, I had zero ambition to do that. Like, I was like, no one wants to hear about me and my deer right now. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't matter. The deer doesn't matter. None of this matters. Yeah. What matters is there's so many things that matter more. And like, especially when you think about his wife and his kid, like it just, dude, it was a very interesting idea. So I left that shot knowing that I missed high, and I maybe even have just tickled him or completely blew it past him enough to maybe he'll come back. Maybe my hunt tomorrow isn't blown. Texted my wife like at 3 minutes after he came by. I had my shot. I blew it. Like, how often does this happen where you can you have this go down? So I was upset, and I was like, screw this. And half a mile, I was like, I'm just gonna freaking get, like, you start going down the rabbit hole. Eventually I was like, all right, give it 30, 45 minutes before you get down. Like, it's thick. I didn't hear him. Wind's going. He ain't gonna hear me get down. Technically a scent thing could be a thing, but he's already down scent to me anyway. So like I gave him time, and then I walked down to the shot, and as soon as I found the arrow, it's just painted red. I mean painted. Best arrow blood penetration. Like, and so it goes from like my hunt's over, what did I do, to like, hang on here. Like, that's what's it was a surprise. It was humbling. It was like, it was all the above. I immediately tried to start dissecting the blood. I looked right around me, I didn't take more than a step, but like I was looking for a trail. Yeah. Had a little bit of blood, but like, dude, not much. Yeah. Like hardly anything. I'm like, okay, so I'm high liver. Or because I still think I'm high. I still think I'm too high. I'm somewhere between the spine and maybe corner of the lungs, high liver. The blood wasn't like pasty red. I had a good viscosity to it. It was thin. It wasn't pink. No bubbles. Okay. I'm just like, I either hit a big artery and blew right through the middle of it, or like, but like I got obviously something. So I'm thinking high liver. Anyway, eventually I end up FaceTiming a buddy, helps just to have someone who knows that world
Yeah.
confirm your thoughts, right? You're calm saying, hey, this is what I'm seeing. What do you think? And the other thing is where I was going to have to walk out of that property was going to be a workout, like bad, because I couldn't walk back to my truck the same way I came in because he's that way. So I remember talking to buddy Clifton, and he's looking at it and he's like, dude, that arrow looks great. Like your high liver, dude, that honestly looks like a heart pump. Like you got a lot of blood on that thing to have anything.
Yeah.
It's not weird blood. Like it's what you want to see.
Right.
So he's like, you got to get out of there, obviously, and work your way away from where you're at and be conscious of your scent trail and where your audio is going down and jump them or whatever. So I had to walk across a section and a half of corn the wrong direction. So I had to go cross, and I did leave my saddle on the ground, but I didn't want to take my stand out because I left the arrow there to keep it obviously in a saddle. I don't remember why I ended up not bringing the saddle out, but I just like it's easier to find. I don't remember. I was kind of in la land, but because you can't leave your stands on overnight, so like I brought it all out, and yeah, man, it was one of those deals where like it took me an hour and a half to walk out and walk around. But remember Clifton's words specifically were like, dude, like what do you mean you don't know if you're gonna walk around? Like if someone told you you're gonna show up to your hunt and to kill the biggest deer of your life, all you gotta do is walk around the corn. You do it like, what do you mean you're not gonna walk around? Of course you're gonna walk around. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just not ready for it. So an hour and a half later of getting my face cut up by a bunch of corn, I pop out, get in the truck, grab a hotel. Trying to relive that moment, hoping my phone doesn't ding on the other trail cam at 2 a.m. with a limping deer or something like that. And long story short, I got there in the morning at a good time, gave him about exactly 12 hours. Got there on sunrise. And dude, I went back to the area, found a blood trail. Out of the dozens of blood trails I've had, this has got to be one of the weaker ones. Not like nothing, but like just not much blood. A couple spirits here, a couple there, but it was consistent enough to follow. I'm 70-80 yards away. It starts getting. Now you got me?
I got you back. Folks, I feel like the internet this story is so good that's trying to prevent us from telling it.
Technical difficulties. It doesn't mess you up, man. Nothing happened. I mean, nothing happened on my end. Like you froze, and I was like, either he's really captivated by my nonsense talking, or he's not, or he's froze. And I was like, you there? And you didn't respond. I'm like, oh, how long has he been gone? Where did it cut out is the better question, because I kept going.
Yeah. So I don't know, because you froze, I didn't. And then I'm like, oh shoot, my internet went down. But then I'm like trying like YouTube and like sites that I know aren't queued. And I'm like, my internet seems fine. So maybe it was Riverside. Maybe Riverside just hit a bandwidth limit or something. But
yeah, we're golden here. I got things going that are like
we had a weird power surge this morning over on our side of the county. So
maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way,
hopefully it doesn't mess you up. But where did you leave? Like where did it stop?
So what you were talking about how I think the very last thing I heard was you were following the blood trail and it was like not going well at first, and then like 70 yards in, and I think you were about to say it started to open up, but that's kind of when we cut.
Okay, yeah, like it was a decent trail, but nothing crazy. But then after 70, 80 yards, like now it's taking me a few minutes to go every few feet, like drip by drip, and then I'd mark my spot and then look and then like go 10, 15 feet past in a direction, like no, nothing. And it starts getting sparse, and now I'm like, okay, here we go. Here's the top shot. It hit liver, and he's still. I mean, then hope starts dwindling, and within 15 minutes of that kind of sparse blood, I was less than 100 yards, like 90 yards from where I shot him. I look up and I just see tines sitting there sideways. And so he had gone around and made a bed in this little clearing, and it had a little canopy of these young poplars, and he was just, and it looked like it had been an old bed of his or something, or someone's a deer's bed. And he was like, he wasn't just like, oh, I died real quick. He was like bedded and sat and died right there. So it kind of proved like the getting out the way I went out, the being conscious of, hey, he might be wounded and just not knowing what's happening, bed down, and he'll die in his bed if you don't bump him. Like that all was accurate, was true. So I'm glad I went the way I did. And then it was just, yeah, dude, emotions from buddies and FaceTimes and the wife. Filming that was a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool conversations, perspective, a lot of prayer. It was a humbling moment, and getting your hands on them in person. This deer, Dude, I've killed a dozen bucks in my life, maybe. Biggest one being 129, 130 inch whitetail. If I shoot 10 to 15 of the deer this size, then I will maybe start worrying about holding off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this was such
Right.
an amazing animal, and like I'm not someone who's killed a bunch of big animals. So like, dude, it could have been half the size that would have been jacked. Like, so to get up on it and like have your hands on this thing and like to look at it and then know how it went down the situation, it was just really humbling, I guess, is kind of what I'm going for and like what I'm trying to say. It was cool. It was fun FaceTiming friends and family, and I did FaceTime the wife first, which I told her I would do. And so she was a big component of that. But then the real work started, and I had to figure out how I was gonna get the thing out. It was really thick area.
Well, too bad you weren't
But
with
yeah,
me
man,
and
it was
Brock.
just, it's right. I almost thought about like calling one of the guys from the office and like, but then I'd have waited another 5 hours. That wouldn't have worked. But like, um,
So you drug
it
him or
was
did you
tough.
quarter him?
I actually quartered and deboned there and just made multiple trips.
Okay.
I tried pulling him out for even after he was gutted for 20 yards maybe, and I like about killed myself. It was the tray more than anything. It was just everything was really sticky. It was really tall grass. I had to go through this marsh area first. Like it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And even the timber to get to the timber wasn't good timber to go through that. It was just a mess. So it was not really possible. So the first time I've quartered deer in the field, but the first time I quartered and deboned, and then just made all trips with that. And then I kept the cape and the head, which was a fun deal going around too. And I had him back. I had him back home by that evening, and
That's
so like it was, it
crazy.
was, it was. I was in North Dakota for less than. I mean, less than 24 hours. I want to say because I got there about 5, and yeah, I left 25. So it was a quick hunt.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I lived like for that, dude. Like the deer I killed last year on my own private ground was a very similar situation where people would have on private owners would have done it a different way. Because like it's go to your food plots, kill on the food plot, give me your tower blinds. Like I love all that. I love the deer management. I love the plot side of things. But the buck I killed last year was the same thing. I saw him go to bed in an area that I only knew he did on a certain wind with based on trail camera information.
Yeah.
And I knew he was there. I had the right wind. I jumped 80 yards off my food plot into big timber on a tree I've never set up before that I know that he was going to come out to before. I just pinned him.
Yeah.
And so you're playing chess with these animals based on the information you have and risking it in unique situations and going to trees you've never been in and killing deer on the spot. Like that's the coolest thing ever. Like
Yeah.
it just is. Um, and I'm guilty of being impatient, partly because of my job and what we're always going. And so like not that I won't do it if I have to, but it's actually a lot hard for me to sit in a stand for days on end chasing animals. Like it just is. And so like the way we're busy, I try and take my time specifically and wisely. And like, I just love that is even a thing. And a lot of luck's got to come into it and it's got to set up right. And it hasn't always worked, but for me, like that's always going to be the chess game I want to play.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure it out where you can hunt them the least amount of time possible to sneak in, go somewhere new and kill one. Like that is that top echelon for me. It won't always happen.
Hey friends, if you're listening to this podcast, I know you're an avid hunter just like myself, and we are always looking to get more time in the woods each season. One of the ways that's helped me get more time in the stand is by using Maverick hunting blinds. When I'm comfortable, I stay in the stand longer and I'm more focused on deer. I don't turn around so my hood cuts the wind, I'm not taking shelter from the rain, and the best way to stay comfortable is with a hard-sided blind, and my favorite is Maverick's XL blind, which allows me to rifle hunt, bow hunt out at the same stand. The best part is Maverick has a blind for every spot, so whether you're looking for a rifle-only option or a bow and rifle, even a round blind to cut down some of that wind resistance, Maverick has you covered. No matter which option you go with, you're going to be comfortable and sit longer in the stand for all of your upcoming hunting seasons. Go to maverickhunting.com and use the code DRAWNWEST, that's one word, DRAWNWEST, to get 10% off your next blind and elevate platform.
But that's what I'll always be striving for.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
I love about like your hunt and the story is how how like low the barrier to entry is for people to do this. Like
Yep.
you don't, I mean, other than the fact that your job brought you there first, but you
Mm-hmm.
still like we're in a different area. You found some
Oh, I
land,
was 100 or
yeah,
80 miles from where we were. I was like even complete different looking country, really. Yeah.
right. You found some places that you were legally allowed to hunt in a state, like in a different state that you know weren't, you don't live very close. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not like we popped over the border to Wisconsin real fast, quick.
Yep.
Um, but anyone can do that. You just saw some stuff, you put up a camera, like anyone can get a camera. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we've got like some nice gear from XOP, that makes it easier. Like I remember the first days where I was doing run and gun hunting on public land. I was sitting on the ground and then I'm like, "Oh, I got to get up in a
Mm-hmm.
tree." Right? Cuz my experience
Yep.
whitetail hunting, it was up until like North Dakota when I went to college was all private land. Like we'd throw stands in the
Mm-hmm.
Ranger, drive over, put up our tree stand, and it would be up for 4 years. And it was on the edge of food
Yep.
plots, like you said, and it kind of works because we have a high deer density area where like we're not hunting one buck, we're hunting like 7 potential shooters, and we just need one of them
Mm-hmm.
to walk by. Um, and so we would just, typical Orange Army hunt our stands. Their big tower
Mm-hmm.
blinds always set up, stuff like that. So when I started running gun, I'm like, oh, I need a climber. That's what I need. And I remember I went and bought an
Yep.
Ameristep climber. Oh, that thing was heavy. It
Yeah.
was like 39 pounds.
Sounds heavy.
Oh,
Jeez.
solid. It
Like a
wasn't even
tank.
like, it wasn't like, it was so long ago. Like now, a heavy stand now is a cast aluminum stand, right?
Mm-hmm.
This was an extruded steel, like bolted together
Yep.
stand, not welded, not cast, so heavy.
Well,
And I hated
bolted.
it. It
Yeah.
was comfortable once you got up, but you're carrying that 40-pound stand in on North Dakota Publix in early like September. It's 100 degrees. Oh, I remember just sweating my
Dude.
tail off.
Yeah. That's so much extra stuff and so much baggage.
So I gave up on that, and I kind of quit public land hunting for a long time because I was like, man, this is so hard to hopefully see one deer across the field.
Yep.
Right? And
Yep.
on private land, it's like I could drive not much farther. Like I'm driving an hour into North Dakota Publix. I could drive 2 hours back into Minnesota and hunt private land where I'm going to see 25 deer. I don't have to set up a stand, and my mom's probably going to have dinner ready for me when I get done hunting. Like not to
Right.
be a
Right.
baby, but it's nice. I
No,
don't have to
everyone
get a
makes some
hotel.
decisions for a reason.
Yeah, and so then XOP comes along, and I'm like, well. These light stands, like we're demoing. I think I was demoing the Fly. You were using the Super Fly. I'm like, and they're all those guys were like, oh, this is like it's 14 ounces lighter, and they're developing tech and product, right? So they are definitely
Yeah.
very interested in the
Then yeah,
specs.
they need to think like that.
And
Yep.
but I'm like, I trained to call elk off mountains, like, and you guys. Like I don't get the difference between a 10-pound
My
stand or a
elk
5-pound
weighs
stand.
more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, literally, I have tenderloins. I shot a bull that had tenderloins that weighed more than the Superfly.
Oh snap, that's sick. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
So I bet you like back straps and loins on a whitetail might be about the same too. That's
um,
crazy. Like how much
backstrap
like two big back straps would be? They gotta be 3 pounds a piece.
for a whitetail.
Yeah, like I'm thinking,
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably. I mean, a big buck, like mid-October, is probably closer to 4 or 5 pounds a piece. All I know is my elk was 20. Each backstrap was 20 pounds because I weighed them all.
Yeah, so you're at in between two back straps, you're the weight of a superfly.
Probably.
Like for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably for
That's
sure.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean,
Crazy.
the biggest bull I shot, the first load I took out a rear quarter and a front quarter bone in the same load, and I weighed it. Just the meat bags were 148 pounds.
That's a lot. It's a lot of weight.
And so when guys are like, yeah, the 39 pounds, and they're also bulky. That Ameris is huge. It's bulky. They don't nest together. It's clinking and clanking the whole way in. But when you're like, oh yeah, this stand's like 16 ounces lighter than anything on the market, I'm like, cool. Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Like
Yeah.
I know,
It's
what I
still in a
mean?
whole
Like
other league.
I
Yeah.
train for 150. I can handle 5 or 6. So like I like that like we have good gear, and it is expensive. It's an investment. But the nice thing about like the XOP systems that I think we're both running, like I'm basically, Tom, we're working on doing some stuff with the Roams,
Yep.
this year, and basically the same concept. We're gonna have a small tree stand that we're gonna use as a tree stand or a saddle platform. we run around with 2 sticks. We do that on our private land. Like, hey, we got a south wind. We got to hunt the other side of this plot. And so we set up in a tree, double stick in. Me and my wife hunt together. So usually it's like we'll have half a set. But if I'm going to hunt alone, great, I don't have to set anything up. But if we're going to hunt together, now I have to hang another one. So we're kind of hunting the same way, but you only need like 1 set per hunter. You know, compared to like private land back home in Minnesota, we have like 7 stands that are just out all the time.
Yeah, that's like a methodology that we're trying to hammer home with XOP2 is like it's an investment, but it's not. You don't need 15 fishing rods. Like you can have 1, you know, and then tweak it the way you want it to. You don't. I mean, private land, you need so many more for different opportunities. When you're doing this kind of style, you invest in the right one of it because it's your tool that you're going to take. It's like buying one bow versus having to have a different bow at every station you're shooting at. Like, no, just buy one nice one, bring it with you. Like, it's that methodology is it's one system. You invest in it once, it's going to last, and you should be able to continue to leverage it. Because, dude, in all reality, things aren't going to get much lighter. Like they're not. There's not really any new materials that can come out
and
that
why
are going to.
It doesn't need to.
Doesn't need to. That's right. So like you're going to see ergonomics and comfort be the next phase in this space for the next 3 to 5 years. And then also along with that, systems, accessories that work together, a full system, not just your sticks with your stand, but your pack with your stand, with your bladder, with your bow holder. Like everything is just going to get smarter. But we're not, I mean, other companies that aren't light right now will get lighter, but like, you're not going to take a Superfly and go from what we had, you know, the Cold World to the Superfly, or the retrograde to the Superfly, and then like to a new one that's going to be like that much. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't get lighter materials, and lighter materials that exist aren't strong enough or reliable enough.
No, and I don't think you need them. I mean, if you can't, I think at the simple, like, I feel like at a certain point you have to tell people like, get tougher.
Yeah.
Like if
I was more, get ready for it.
Like if I was, Brock won't do this because he's such an innovator. But if I was into Brock's shoes and people are like, "Oh, you need to be lighter," I'd be like, "You need to get tougher." Like, we're not doing this to, you know, this isn't fantasy football where you can sit on the couch and eat chips and, you know, like our hobby is a physical hobby. You gotta, you know, at the end of the tree
and then track around the woods.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if things go perfect, hike in, everyone's got their idea what perfect is. But like, let's take your hunt's about as perfect as it get. I'm gonna go in 300 yards. It's September, early season. I want a nice punch a tag early, feels great. We all want to do that. Okay, what does that mean? Hike in 300 yards, 90-degree heat. Well, you can't do that if you're, you know, 6 multiples overweight, right? You got to be a little fit. You know, it's hot, sweaty. If you want to be good, you got to try to be like at a point physically where you can do that without like, you know, like puddle sweating.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
That
That's
helps.
A big difference too.
It helps. You got to climb a tree, right? So you got to be able to move your body up a tree. Like that's physical. You got to shoot an animal. And if it goes well, you got to get that animal out. And how are you going to do that? There's no silver bullet for that one. Yeah, we could get you a 1 pound stand and a half-pound stick, but you like, unless you're shooting fawns, like you still have to pull out a heavy animal. And so at the end of the day, you have to be prepared for that. So if you're prepared for that, you're prepared to hike in with a 5 pound stand and
also
2 2-pound sticks.
The pounds don't matter as much anymore. And like, I think it's like you said, you mentioned it earlier, and I do think it's like high level, 10,000 foot. It is good to have that thought behind it because, and at the same time, like I don't shame people for wanting to tweak because I geek out over it from a modular technical standpoint. But you're right, like the people that think they can, I'm not going to get into this until I can buy a Superfly. No.
Right.
I don't care if it's an Ion. I don't care if it's an old area like a Vanish. I don't care if it's a used one on Facebook Marketplace. Get into a cast end. It doesn't matter. One of the guys I shot with this spring, he's just a killer. He goes a couple out of states a year. He got a really good managed property here in Minnesota. He was mobile hunting with a Vanish and X3s.
Yeah.
4 of them, or 3 of them. Sorry, 3 X3s. And then I came there and we were doing some stuff, and he was looking at my setup, and he's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's like a mobile setup." He's like, "Dude, this is my mobile setup," and I was like, mind boggled, right? Yeah. But he did it for years.
Yeah.
Did it for years, and killed a lot of deer. Like so. Yeah,
I used to do that with a Lone Wolf, and they didn't. It was kind of like Lone Wolf's version of X3s, but I like built my own like carry lanyard. So I had like the backpack straps backpack, and then I put my backpack over that. Nothing was meant to work together, and then I just put 4 sticks, took a rope with a loop on both ends, looped them together, and put them across. I hated it because like you got your bow in one hand, you got your sticks bouncing off your leg on the other hand, your backpack's trying to fall off. Like I geek out
Yep.
over the systems. Like you give me the right tools that work together, I don't care what they
Yep.
weigh. But I also
Yep.
what I'm liking with like the XOP, and this is where I think it's very unique perspective. I love the fact that with the X2 or the new ones and the platform like a Gamma with a backpack over it, I can get to my tree, I put my saddle harness on, I tie off my bow, I lay it down, I take my first X2, I put it as high as I can, like I'm about the same height as you, I'm 6'2". So I get pretty high up, put that triple aider on, right? I take my second X2, I clip it into my belt, I go up,
Yep.
I stand on the top of the first X2, one more, I put the aider on, I go up, I hang my platform, I get in my platform, I pull my bow up, I'm hunting. I'm not going down and up, down and up, down and up. With those X3s or any type of like a triple stick, you kind of have to go down and up I hate that. Well, now I'm getting to a tree, and sure, if I have my favorite tree stand at my farm, it's set up. Like there's something about it that I'll never truly go away from that, but that's one
dude.
stand. Other than that, if I can get into a tree in like 7 extra minutes, like it's not as ideal.
You get fast at the more you do it too. Like once you get comfortable with this, like I remember.
But if you have like 10 extra minutes, now you can hunt any one of your private trees.
That's right, and you can make decisions based on your information at any point in time, and you're not compromising anything. And again, it comes down to however much effort you want to put into this, and however seriously you want to take it, however much you geek out over taking it that seriously. However much you want to obsess over the details that might not make a difference, but it's kind of fun too because that's your hobby, that's what you like doing. Like all of that's on a slider bar, dude. And we can't alienate anyone who just like, dude, I just don't care that much, man. I don't care that much to go crazy. I was with a couple last week. They bought 80 acres, same time I bought mine, and I was looking at this, and I'm like, from a canvas perspective, I'm like, the things you could do with this property, like a couple of things set up really well for it. Guy doesn't run cameras. He's got a couple old food plots that he threw broadcasts of some stuff, but there's more weeds than clover, and like they just don't know. But I found myself like looking at that as an opportunity. But I remember I was like, dude, not everyone wants to take it to the degree that I want to do it.
Yeah.
And he shot a nice basket buck last year, and was content with it. And like he's like, yeah, I like to do more, but we're busy, and like they got kids, like. So you can't look down on that. But if you geek out over it, like any sport that's got enough depth, there's a million one things to go spend your money on. There's a million one things to learn and go do. And I think that is what gives this sport as much life as the actual adrenaline rush of the kill. Because I'll flat out say it. Obviously, that rush is unlike a lot of other things. There's not much out there that's like it.
Right.
If the whole thing was only for that, I probably wouldn't be hunting nearly as much or to the degree. If it didn't involve the thought process and the decision making and the game of chess that you're playing, from the seed and when you put it down and the fertilizer to stand placement to how you're organizing your trails for access, like to how you dekill it, to how you put the camera. If it wasn't a full circle of things,
right,
I wouldn't be as into it.
And
that's just my personality.
It's a great analogy for this. It's like you're playing chess, right? But if you go and like say you public private land, you just like you put up your ladder stand, right? Some states, I don't think any states you can really leave ladder stands or anything like personal. Let's just say like bought an 80, put up one ladder stand, and you just hunt that ladder stand. You did nothing else, no cameras, no management, no food plots. It's like you're playing chess, but all you have are pawns. The deer has the full spread. The knights, the queens, the king.
You got one way to go.
You've got like one
analogy.
pawn. Now you add a camera. That's a second pawn, right? Now you add a food plot. Now you got two pawns and a bishop, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do I add more pieces to my side of the chessboard before we start, right? And so my gradient's as wide as it gets. We've got some Maverick, like 7-foot box blinds on metal platforms, on food plots and apple trees, and we've got a couple of those, right? Like that's my queen, right? Like odds are, year in, year out, I'm probably going to shoot a deer with a rifle from that stand.
Yeah.
Just statistics. Like in the rut, like I can cover the whole
your
farm.
best options. Yeah.
But when that doesn't work, or early season, like those sets are kind of built around a game plan of the rut or a game plan of late season food where I want to be comfortable, right? And that adds, now I can put a heater in my stand. Okay, well now you get your rooks. Like I just want more chess pieces, and this one with the XOP is kind of like the ultimate, like it's kind of like the queen because you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
You could
Yep.
set it up and leave it. You can run and gun. I rifle hunt out of mine. Like it's pretty nice actually. Like if you want a shot, put your hand on your tether up against the tree, lay your rifle
Dude.
over, and then just swing over until that tree makes like the perfect rest. Like I've been doing a
Yeah,
lot of rifle hunting out of my or muzzle loader. I
we got
say
a
firearm.
muzzle loader. Yeah, dude. We got a muzzle loader hunt this year, like in the way up north. And
Dude, my
it'll be the
muzzle
first time
loader's
I've
jacked. I can shoot
Really?
300 yards with mine.
I forget which ones we ordered for it, but we did get some.
You guys got
Vortex
the
to send us
CVA
some,
Wolves.
optics.
Tom told me that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I have the
That
Acura.
I've never rifle hunted, but the thought that we're doing it the way we're doing it to do a hunt where you're mobile hunting out of a density population of 0.3 deer per square mile is like the only, like the advantage we have because we're mobile hunting is going to be dope.
Yeah.
Like really cool. So that's, again, it's a really big tool. And for someone who doesn't have the resources to have their own private land or the time, if you're going to invest in one thing, spend the money on a nice mobile light setup that doesn't refrain you or discourage you from going anywhere you want with it.
Yeah. You build a
To the
system.
10th degree.
It builds a system. Like I like like a lightweight platform, whether it's a Roam, Fly, Superfly, even Cold World or Retrograde. Like they're not that heavy. I think the shelf lock is a huge bonus. Like you kind of want that.
Big deal.
You do want that.
Big deal.
But yeah,
that's why I don't hunt out without a saddle platform anymore. Like certain situations, potentially, like you could shave a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
But like again, there's a lot of other variants. I'm not down talking saddle platforms, but like that's the conundrum nowadays.
For the all-day sits, it's nice to turn around, sit down, eat your lunch, whatever you need to do.
I don't care how comfortable a saddle you got, and like I've tried them all, dude. Like not all, but like close to it. It's putting that much pressure on your butt anyway. It's no different than sitting in a chair all day long. Like you don't want to do that all day.
No.
To be able to stand up, move around, sit down, like no one could tell me like, oh, I'll saddle hunt all day long, and like I would never have wanted to like alleviate the weight from my legs. Like okay.
So
sure, like,
here's a fun thought process, right? So you bought 80 acres to deer hunt. We bought this 40. Our house is on it, so we couldn't really do this. But imagine what you could accomplish if you sold your 80 acres, just bought one XOP setup, and like the whole system, bow, whatever. You've already got it all, and just put all of that money towards trips in different states.
As many hunts as you want. Yeah, dude.
Well, not even $5,000. What'd you spend in North Dakota? $255 for the tag,
That's true.
some gas.
That's true.
Like, and then it's like, okay, next year we're doing just like, or you could do 4 of the, you know what I mean? And all the time. Like, I feel like I love private land, and I'm never gonna not want more because I love, like, I authentically love.
There's something about that.
Managing land and like just seeing sheds and bucks. But if you're like trying to kill deer, I don't think buying private land's the right way. The hundreds of hours you spend on it.
No.
And yeah, if you want to kill
that's
deer.
What I'm saying. If you didn't have the rest of that, dude, you wouldn't, like, no one would do it. If it was just to kill that deer, you'd take a different approach. You take a whole different side to it. You would
run and gun public lands. You'd play the lotteries, and it's like this year we drew Iowa. Next year we're trying to draw Kansas. We're gonna always hunt North Dakota because it's over the counter. We're always gonna hunt Missouri because it's over the counter. You're gonna do that every year. Probably spend $5-10 a year, but you're gonna spend $4,000 a year in your taxes for your land. And how many hours? I mean, like there's so many ways to skin that cat. And that's what I love about these systems that like XOP designs. Not that this is like we both are very, I don't know, affiliated friends of the XOP family, part of the XOP family, but it's for a reason. Like we love the stuff, like we use it, we love it. And it makes the run and guns enjoyable. Like I like the thought of like, man, maybe I should just like, I've always kind of been anti-public because we have so much private. And I don't want to be the guy that like encroaches on other people's like only option when I have a lot. So I'm like, maybe I should just try to hunt like the worst publics. So I'm not really like taking up someone else's opportunity, but just the thought of like, let's just go walk in the woods and be like, oh, here's a fresh buck track. Like, I see what he's doing. Like, I think I gotta, just looking around in the woods and be like, I'm going to sit in this tree tonight and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that.
The unknown, dude. And there's, you're going to see a trend, and like something we're trying to push internally with XOP2 is the Western hunting, going out west to experience camp with your buddies is going to shift Midwest more and more. It's because it's getting harder and harder to do. It's getting more and more expensive. The pressure is getting to a lot of those animals. Like it's just, the camaraderie of going to a place that's unknown, trekking around the hilltop, the suck, the sweat, that's what people come home and immediately miss.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot more people coming to the Midwest on the over-the-counter states in the next, I mean, it's already happening, but because we have giant chunks of public and we have enough, especially during bow season, for people to have plenty of space and kill big animals. Like we're not there yet. At least in my opinion, we're not there where our public land is so overrun by hunters. Unless you're within 45 minutes of the cities here, like there's enough of it everywhere to go in the Midwest to have big chunks on your own, especially if you're doing from a Monday to Friday, you know, and with all your buddies that took off work for a week, like that is 100% still a thing. People can do it. And I think you're going to see more people do it because it gives them the itch that they want with camaraderie and the fellowship with people on the fire and the destination going somewhere and being and still camping. Yet they're in a 400-acre section that is plenty big for those 3 guys to hunt for a week. Like it just is. And there's probably plenty of deer running around in it. So like,
yeah, I think so too. I mean, the camp is fun though. Like when we did Test the West, the film that just launched for XOP. So if folks haven't watched it, we're going to put it in a newsletter, but it's out on the XOP YouTube channel. Sam was the camera guy behind that whole film.
Yeah.
If folks haven't caught on, Sam is a full-time cameraman, runs more media. Well, a podcast producer now, I guess, is another one.
We can add that to our list. Yes.
You are a digital asset producer.
There we go. That's all encompassing enough for sure.
Yeah. And works with majority outdoor brands, hunting, fishing, power sports, you know, not that you wouldn't take a different venue if it was the right, you know, fit, but primarily power sports, outdoor sports, hunting, fishing. So Test the West, the best part of that trip was the camaraderie in camp, the bonfires that went into like 3 a.m. I mean, if you looked on paper, we probably do the Crawdad Boil podcast where Sam and I are like, how do we eat these things? I'm just going to eat the shrimp.
It was so good though.
Yeah.
It was so good.
No one got sick, which is good.
That's what people want. Like I'm not trying to downplay like the guy that wants to go and just kill the deer, but like, dude, half of these trips that we look forward to is that.
Bonfires.
And how like, and being with your boys and like the hunt being good or not, like it sounds cliche to say, but like that's what we look back and look forward to, like going back again. It's like immediately after, it's like, Matt, like when we sit there and sweat our butts off and it's hot and we got mosquitoes and then deer hunting was tough and like we're like, all right, we should probably leave, and like and then we get home and like 2 days later you're like, man, I wish I was back there again. Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Hit the mute button just in time for that sneeze. Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is about the camaraderie, and I think that's like the best way to kind of wrap up this podcast is just like that's why we do it. The people, as much as it is fun, like you did your whole hunt solo, like everything about it, you're on your own. There's no one in camp. You're away from home. You don't get to like. It's you can call your wife, you can call your family, but it's different. You know, when you hang up, you're still.
It was different. Yeah. And not that I wouldn't do it again because I'm planning on it, but if that was the only way hunting was, it wouldn't be as attractive for me.
Yeah, but imagine how much better it was if like your family was in camp or your buddies were in camp, and like you might still be that property. Like I found this property, I'm gonna go hunt that. Everyone goes their own ways, but it is truly.
But like coming back to a camp would have been amazing.
It's the fullest kind of experience of it, of like having a camp, and that's, I think, a great way to wrap this one up. I know we're at an hour. Both busy guys. I got a bunch of things that I got going on today. I'm sure as we were talking before the podcast and might even talk after the podcast, you guys are absolutely slammed. Before we wrap up, give folks a chance whether they just want to consume some of the highest quality content you can find in the woods and water. Where can they find that? Or if for whatever reason someone's listening that is in the market for some production support, where might they find you and be able to reach out and kind of see if there's a fit?
Yeah. I mean, we're fortunate enough. So it's not, I have to preface, it's not just me. I have a team of guys that help me along the way here. So it isn't just me always working on one project specifically. Everyone has kind of their lanes that we stay in, but it's, everyone helps out. So like, on the fishing side, you can look at, there's a series called Truer Level Gold, that we produce, that follows like NWT walleye guys, really good, like kind of documentary style. They're like on a 3rd season of that. That's a cool deal. On the hunting side, look at HuntStand Originals, any XOP content for the most part. About 90% of that is some of the stuff that we produce. Like longer form storytelling pieces, like some of the HuntStand Originals are really cool. We've done a couple films with that have been just unreal. And then I mean, yeah, we do a lot of commercial work as well, but without naming specific campaigns and stuff like that, it's just, yeah, I would say that socials are always a good way to do it, either mine or the companies. But we do a lot of different things throughout the season, between turkey hunting to big game to out west. One of my guys was in an elk hunt in Colorado last week. Is going on Audad hunt in Texas next week. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things back and forth, but probably the easiest way to look at more specifically what we do would be just like on socials and stuff.
Yeah.
And because we're trying to update that as much as possible. But yeah, man, it's a heck of a ride. It's a really fun gig. We work our asses off, but it's at the end of the day, we choose to be doing what we're doing.
Oh, busy guy keeps getting phone calls.
Speaking of that, I have Brock himself calling me, trying to figure out why yeah, anyway, we're supposed to get a call this morning. He was in some fancy meeting, but anyway, yeah. Does that give you enough context? That I have a hard time talking about myself in that respect.
Awesome. Yeah, no, we'll check it out. We'll put links to Sam More Media and More Media for folks to follow. Some great content. But once again, thanks for coming on the podcast today, Sam, and thank you for listening, folks.